यहाँ चलती को गाड़ी कहते हैं प्यारे पम पम पम.
Okay, hi everyone, and welcome to our first meeting in a very, very long time. I'm so glad to have everybody back here, and I'm so happy that we are doing this again. Yeah, we were supposed to start a few weeks ago, but then cyclone and other crazy shit. So anyway, all that aside, director's cap is on, and we're going to start our discussion on this extremely amazing movie. It's like every time we screen a Bollywood film, I'm always out there saying this is probably the best Bollywood film of all time, and I am probably going to say that once again because this is such an excellent film. And I think, if we look back at it now, we think it has a lot of Bollywood cliches, like, the very standard romance, just like now, if you look back at it, creepy stalker romance and the girl falling in love with him, and the typical jokes which we see so often now. But yeah, back then this was very new, very groundbreaking, and it actually became a template of all Bollywood rom-coms to come. So a little intro on why we chose this film today. So yeah, it actually started in the quiz club when we were doing a Bollywood quiz, and before that, another quiz we did. And in both quizzes, we asked questions. Oh yeah, so shameless plug to the quiz club. If you're not already a member of the quiz club, please join the quiz club. I guarantee it's going to be amazing and a lot of fun. Anyway, yeah, so the fun trivia we had about this particular movie was that the movie itself was made by Kishore Kumar and it was supposed to be a flop. So he planned this movie to be a complete flop, to blow up, like, to just completely dunk in the box office so that he didn't have to pay as much income tax because he had a great year and he wanted one flop to write it all off and not pay tax. But this film actually blew up bigger than any of his other films in a long time, and he actually gave away the rights to this of this film to Anoop Sharma, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, so he wrote it away, and actually this became one of the biggest films of his career and one of the biggest films of all time. And the second cool piece of trivia we discussed about in the quiz club was the Pachu Paya Bala Anna. The fun thing about that was Kishore Kumar in his college days actually was a big prankster, and he owed his canteen bhaiya 5 rupees and 12 annas, and he never paid that back. So in one of like in a I think in a one statement, the canteen bhaiya pointed it out, and Kishore Kumar agreed that yeah, this is true, and I do owe him money, and he wrote that into the film. So that is another piece of amazing trivia. With that, let's get started with our discussion of the film. I think Shirish, do you have any um, opening remarks about this film? What do you think?
Okay, so yeah, I have heard about this film for a long time, but then I haven't actually watched it. It's supposed to be a classic, Bollywood classic, and meaning I didn't expect to watch this at any time. And then you recommended this movie, and I said, okay, let's give it a try. Initially, I was apprehensive about it, but then the opening credits itself, captured my imagination. The way that like that animation thingy and the background music of it all. Something fun is going to happen for the next 3 hours, and I guess that's all it is required. It is a fun watch for 3 hours.
Yeah, completely agree. The starting animations were brilliant, and it was so charming. It was just like so beautiful. Like it was so simple yet so beautiful, and it's just something about watching a black and white film like this, and that takes you back to days you were never part of, but just it made me think of going with my buddies, bunking college, and picking up a soda and sitting in the theater and yelling and singing with my friends along to this movie, because it's such a movie. It has such a vibe that you feel like dancing and jumping around with it, and yeah, it's just so amazing. Does anybody else have something they want to contribute before we go on?
In the beginning, there's like I think the character's name. It's introduced with what they're doing. And there's one with a woman coming out of a maternity ward, and the baby is Anoop Sharma, to show that he's the child at heart or something like that. I love that. I feel like it's like an inside joke within all the cast and the crew in the film. So I thought that was really unique.
Yeah.
Also, can I just
Yeah.
say, you all look amazing.
Yeah. I think this is the
All
best
of you.
part is everybody dressing up
You all look
and
so.
yeah. I think Diksha took it out of the park, like she wore the sari and everything.
It's my mom, so she's like, you have to wear flowers and you have to wear hoops, and I'm like, Mama, it's not a retro theme party, but she's like, no, you have to wear this and that, and I'm just like, fine, I'll wear whatever you want.
So yeah, thank you everyone for dressing up and being so enthusiastic about it. Love you all. Really amazing. So yeah, like Avantika said in the beginning, even the simple opening credits, right? Even they show each one's personality. You see each one, like Kishore Kumar dancing around on the car, and like each aspect of the film was so perfectly encapsulated in the credits. And I think it's much better if you finish watching the film and go back, then you get all the inside jokes, like Avantika said. So yeah, that was really nice. Yeah, so anybody else, we can just get started. What do you like about the film? Something you thought about, like what the film make you feel or whatever. Anish, do you want to go?
For me, it was the music. I mean, if not for anything else,
The
the
laugh in
music
the
makes the
starting.
film.
I mean,
The music and the star cast, right? I don't think the three brothers, all of them together were. I think it was one of the few movies that all of them were there, and Madhubala too. So for me, the highlight of the thing was all the songs. Like you can't pick one out. All of them are amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Isha wants to say something. Go ahead, Isha.
yeah. So like the songs in the movie, you've been hearing them since you were a child, and pretty much everybody remembers the lyrics to most of the songs. But then I never imagined that this movie is going to be so funny, and I didn't watch it earlier. But after watching, I mean, after you guys recommended it, I really started watching it. And the starting scene, the first scene, the whole making faces and that woman running away, it's just so funny that you start the movie and you start with a laugh, and you know that it's going to be a funny movie, it's going to be a nice movie to watch.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. There was not a single song in the movie to which I wasn't dancing along to. It's like definitely bobbing my head at the very least. So yeah, and for me, I did not grow up what listening to these songs. Like a few people had asked me about, it, and I was like, the only time I heard these songs was when I was getting my haircut at the barber's. But yeah, this was very nice for me, and I actually enjoyed this so much because yeah, for me it was something completely new I was getting myself into, and I loved it. I really, really loved it. So yeah. Diksha, do you want to say something?
Yeah, sure. So this these are like the most Antakshari songs that I've ever heard. So all of my Bachpan ka Antakshari has been with these songs. And I always saw them, from different movies and stuff. And I realized like most of my Antakshari songs come from like one movie, which is very cool. And also, this is like my first black and white movie that I've really watched properly, which kind of broke a few myths that I had in my head before, that they're all going to be weird and overacting, and it's going to be full of stalker guys and girls falling for stalker guys. But I was very impressed by the fact that this wasn't very like that. That probably came a little later in the Bollywood era. But yeah, this was like Madhubala drove her own car, which was really cool. And she gave it back to Kishore Kumar whenever he was being a bitch. And yeah, she fell for him in the end. The first song was little stalkery, but I mean, it was very, at the end, it did show non-stalker tendencies as well. And it was not as overacting as I thought, so I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so even though if we look back with a very modern lens and we look back with whatever we know today, and yeah, the film does seem a bit very like extremely stalker, and the guy keeps on trying till he gets the girl, but really not that much. It's not like it's not like any of the typical things you would think of. It was actually,
It's not like a lot of movies that came later
it's
where
not a
that actually
DDLJ
properly
basically.
talks
It's not a
about, yeah.
DDLJ. Yeah. So, but it showed male chauvinism in such a way that it wasn't overbearing. So in a way, in its own way, it was quite progressive, I felt, for the time. So it was especially with the girls riding their own car and the girl having a choice who she would marry. Like looking back from now, it does still seem extremely, extremely, what's the word? Yeah, chauvinistic rather, but not really. So back then it was extremely progressive, and I thought it was groundbreaking for its time also. Yeah. Does anybody want to talk about the story itself now? Add to what Diksha said, like anything y'all noticed to contribute? Anyone? Isha, Avantika, Via.
Yeah, I think the film really surprised me. I did not expect this story to go on like that. And I love Kishore Kumar's character because he's so simple, and you just fall in love with him. And he has that ability to just break into a song. Like he's walking and then he breaks into a song, and you're like singing it with him. And I love how it flows, the whole movie. It's natural. It's like this is supposed to happen. It's not a movie. It's like it actually happened. You feel like you're there. That's what I loved. And of course the female character is very feminist. I love how her father said, I will only get her married when she says yes. Even when they were their hands were tied, he says no. Until she says yes, I'm not going to get her married. You can do whatever you want. And she's not helpless, Madhubala. She's so strong and brave. She drives her own car. She has her own show where she performs, and she comes back home at 2 a.m. Instead of going home, instead of calling her dad, she goes to a mechanic's shop and she gets her car repaired at 2 a.m. I don't think even I would be able to do that. I would just, call up 10 people and be like, I'm stuck. But she doesn't. And there's this weird mechanic guy who has his own ego or whatever, but she's not, and then she goes back again. I think she's like an inspiration. So I love that part about the movie.
So yeah, even the small fact that she was willing to just like say fuck you, I'm pushing the car myself, do all the drama you want. I don't, and yeah, a small thing like that. It was really amazing. And this was actually one of the movies that took Madhubala from wow to superstar. So yeah, this was and like she's just so beautiful. Oh my god. The film may be like really old, but at least the print was amazing, and she's just like such an attractive actress, and oh my god, it was just really cool. And this is the film that took her from being like a side character to actually being a superstar in her own right. There were all big names in the movie, but she had a very central role to the whole movie, so you couldn't say that the movie was not about her. And that's how important she became on the scene, like in the whole Bollywood scene. That okay, Madhubala is Madhubala. She's not a co-star to Kishore Kumar or whatever. So yeah, I think this was a really good movie for her as well.
I think another thing which I really enjoyed is I don't know, it was probably predictable to a few other people, but at the end, am I allowed to give spoilers?
Yeah, go ahead, right? It's fine.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so at the end when we find out that the girl who was trapped in those people's house is actually like the elder brother's long lost love, which is something I didn't expect. So I thought her purpose in the story was to show that these people are known to, kidnap girls and like trap them for 10 years and stuff. But then like, then when we realized that it was actually that guy's, long lost love and stuff, and it just made the story a little more complete for me, which I really liked.
Yeah, and that's also something about a Bollywood film, right? You don't go to a Bollywood film to watch. It's not a Christopher Nolan movie. You don't go in to be left like, huh, at the end of it. It's a nice, complete story. You wrap it, tie it with a nice bow, and you go out of the film feeling content and singing the songs all your way home. So I think, yeah, this is a very typical Bollywood film. Very feel-good movie, very complete. All the knots tied movie. No loose ends. And yeah, that's what makes it a proper Bollywood. Rom-com movie. So it was really cool. Shrish, anything to contribute?
Yeah, so yeah, I got like my connection got lost in the beginning. Like I just wanted to reiterate the thing about the nostalgia. There's something about this aesthetic of a black and white picture of a city, like a cityscape, and traveling through a car, which obviously we've not been to Mumbai and not at that particular time anyway. But there's it kindles some nostalgia in you. I don't know how they do it, but yeah, as I said, it feels good to like be in that time.
Oh, most definitely. So that's why I couldn't help but play the songs for the movie. You joined a bit late, Shrish, but I couldn't help but play the songs for everybody before starting the session because
Yeah, I
yeah,
got it. Yeah.
yeah, I couldn't help it. They were just so charming. Anyone else?
Yeah, they were really good.
Yeah, Shrish, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what. Even the background score of the whole thing. Sometimes I think if there were no dialogues in the film and it was just these people interacting and background music, I think it could still work. Maybe not as long as 3 hours. We edit out some parts, but it would have still worked like a Chaplin film or something. Especially Kishore Das part, you could see that physical comedy and everything. It was superb there.
Yeah, it was a perfect blend of slapstick and just dialogue comedy and song and everything. It was so cool. Like a small trope, like kicking the car started and you start the race last and then still zoom to a victory and just small stuff like that. But so charming, so charming. You couldn't, yeah, it was very Chaplin-esque also. So like the boxing scenes especially that remind me of Charlie Chaplin a lot. But yeah, so charming start to finish. So yeah, Isha, would you like to say something? Yeah, maybe.
So I really didn't expect to like this movie, and but I would have never watched it actually. But like I'm glad I was introduced to it because I remember hearing these songs when my grandmother or my grandfather used to come over and they used to play these songs, and then they used to talk about Kishore Kumar and Madhubala, and I was like, how can somebody even enjoy this kind of movie when there was no color and all of that? But then when I watched it, I actually really liked it. I kind of I like the songs. It was like really nostalgic, and I really appreciated her beauty because she is exceptional. And yes, of course, like how all of you have said, the movie is actually depicting her as a very strong female character with a lot of qualities which I wish I could possess, like driving and the 2 a.m. Mechanics. So yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah, precisely that. So it was like a nice blend of feminism, the 2 a.m. scene, the Bigi Sari, which led to such a beautiful song that was completely like it's probably an eternal Bollywood song. Nobody's going to forget that anytime soon. So I think as a whole, that is exactly what the movie was. It was cool, like scene about a nice family of brothers who are very tight knit, feminist scene leading into a song and back to the brothers, and that was exactly what the 3 hours were about ultimately. So yeah, I just want to move on because we've all been discussing the same points. I would, like I said, oh, we have 10 minutes more in the meeting. Never mind, I'll just send a new link. Everybody join again as soon as this gets over. So yeah, another thing I want to bring out was that one scene where they go to the beach together, and he explains that he's not really scared of his bigger brother. He's scared of upsetting his bigger brother, and it's very different. So that kind of shows that's not exactly scared of getting hurt itself. He loves his family so much that he would never do anything to make them upset. And that's also something I loved so much about the three of them. They cared for each other. So it wasn't like a big patriarchal thing, one guy head of the family just telling you what to do and you automatically listen. The whole chemistry they had was so much about love and less about just, being tyrannical. Does anybody have something to say about that? We'll just say this, we'll give this one part and then we'll open a new meeting so we can continue. Yeah, go ahead. Who wants to comment? Diksha, maybe? You want to say something?
Yeah, there's this.
Oh, yeah, Shrish, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, Diksha then.
No, Shrish, go ahead.
Yeah,
Diksha
because there's this. Yeah, okay. So then there's this typical dynamic of having three people who are like, a trickster, a clown, and a principal guy, like a soldier or something. Just these three brothers are exactly that. You have the elder brother being like that principal, disciplined guy, and then the middle guy who's the trickster who is, he'll always put the youngest into trouble, and the youngest is like, he always takes everything up and he's like a clown. He jokes around, dances around, plays a guitar and whatnot. So yeah, that's kind of how, like, it feels so natural. You feel like, okay, if there were three brothers, they would probably be like this, and then you feel the bond between those three brothers. So yeah.
Yeah, completely agree. And even the small scene about like the coin toss. Heads I win, tails you lose. That can be, it's become so common today, but like back then this was something so funny and new, and it's so typical of an older brother bullying their younger sibling and telling them, "Ha, I fooled you," whatever, and the young kid not getting the joke until much later, and then, "Acha, I got it now." And so when the younger kid gets it, yeah, we don't play this anymore. It's done. I'm going to find some new way to make fun of you. So yeah, that was like something I really loved. And back then it must have been quite new. So now something we were all familiar with. Yeah, Diksha, do you want to say something?
Heads I win, tails you lose was what actually woke me up. So I was really sleepy yesterday when I started the movie, and then I was watching it with my mom, and this scene came, the heads I win, tails you lose thing. And I was like, huh, I didn't even register it again. Mom was like, did you listen? And I said, yeah. Then I'm like, oh, now I get it. And that's what actually like made me go through the whole movie properly, like stimulated my mind.
Yeah, exactly. And again, small scenes in the movie, like both the younger kids are getting beat up, and then the big brother comes and pulls them out of trouble. This showed like how important family was to them and how tight knit, like band of brothers, literally a band of brothers. So yeah, that was extremely enjoyable. Anything else you guys want to add about the three brothers? Anyone else? Via Isha? Avantika, maybe? Do you have something to say?
Yeah, I think we covered everything.
Okay, cool. So we have 5 minutes more on this meeting. I'll just talk about the villain. So the villain is the very famous KN Singh. He was like probably very typically the villain in all the movies of that particular time. And I just want to say what a brilliant performance he gave. He beautifully encapsulated the whole acha, this guy looks like he's going to turn evil, like very typical. He's no big trickery, and when you see him, acha, this guy is the villain only, from the beginning. So you see him and then how but still, even though he's the villain, you see him, the way he's portrayed in the beginning and the end is so different that he manages to get progressively more evil expressions onto his face till the end of it. I think that was very brilliant. And not many villains and not many actors can pull off that kind of drama anymore. Just by your facial expressions progressively growing more evil and letting the audience know, acha, now this guy is first he might be the normal villain, and that guy who we saw at night must be the actual villain. And the actual villain is still going to come. Oh, he's like abroad maybe. Oh, acha, you are only the actual villain. Acha, you're the mastermind. I get it. So it was very obvious, but it's still so charming. So yeah. Anyone else wants to add something about the villains in the movie?
So I was watching it with my dad, and he said that the actor had a deal that he was only going to be portrayed as a sophisticated villain. He was never, there was like this one Chota Don and there's one like main guy. He was always a sophisticated white collar guy who was actually behind everything, and he had all the luxury, like in all his roles across all the movies. So I was like, okay. He was telling me about it when you were watching it.
Yeah, so
But I really like his character.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Very typical Bollywood thing, na? So when you know, like by the actor only, you know, ki, acha, this is who the villain is, this is who the hero is, just because they were so stereotypical, like the actor played that particular role only, and he was like, if I'm signing this film, I'm going to play that role only. I won't break character, and that's my specialty, you know. So yeah, if you want to hire me, you hire me for that. Acha, cool. So I will wrap up this meeting. I will send a new link and we will continue. Just a few more minutes. We'll discuss the different scenes of the movie before winding up. Okay.